Welcome back to episode 7 of the Real Estate Den. Today we have Jackson and Christina joining us. Hi, Jackson.
How's it going?
Hi, Christina.
Hi.
Awesome. So we'll just get right into this. Let's ask. So Jackson, tell us a little bit about you, your background, and what you're doing now in real estate.
So I grew up in Chicago, and then I came out here for school. I graduated DU and studied real estate and finance. And then once I graduated, I got my real estate license since I had the coursework already through DU. And then now I am a real estate agent with New Western in Colorado. We are the nation's largest private marketplace for investors to find homes to rehab. So we kind of only deal with investment properties and cash buyers as opposed to traditional real estate. And it's been really fun, really interesting. And I've been doing it for about 6 or 7 months now. We're in January. So first full year headed into being in real estate. I've loved every minute of it. And yeah, it's definitely been very interesting and also challenging, but still very fun.
Awesome. So this is your first career?
Yes, this is my first job straight out of college. I worked an internship also in real estate. It was more on the commercial side, and that's where I first thought that I was going to kind of venture towards, and then kind of took a pivot, and then here I am now.
Well, it was my first career too, pretty so, and I think it was Christina's as well. Because Christina, tell us a little bit about you and where you're from and what you do in this wonderful industry.
Yeah, definitely. So, born in Colorado, specifically grew up in Aurora. And I was actually in the hospitality industry, specifically the hotel industry, for about 8 years. And I was graduating college. I was originally trying to get into the digital marketing ad agency arena. So really trying to find my place in the world. And at the time, my best friend was working for a mortgage company, and the owner of the company was looking for an assistant, a loan officer assistant. And so he really took me under his wing, and I was with that company for 10 years. So fast forward, here we are.
Nice. So you got in 2014 then?
Yep. Correct.
Okay, cool.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So you're a native, Christina. Jackson, what drew you to Colorado? Because I'm also a native. So like I always just like to ask, because like I was born in Greeley, like I lived in Aurora, like, just when you're here, you're just here. So like what brought you to Colorado?
Yeah. So just being in Chicago, I definitely loved every minute of it, but it was interesting. So I had no idea where I kind of wanted to go for school, and so I just sent so many applications all over the Midwest, and then I randomly checked out Denver, and then I took a tour, and I really liked that it was smaller, and then it was also kind of downtown, and still getting that same city feel that I'd been so accustomed to, rather than just going to a Big Ten school or something like that. And then so I kind of took a chance. I was the only person from my high school to venture out here in my grade. That is, there was a couple younger than me and also older than me, but kind of just took a chance, and I got a good opportunity to study business. And then I started off in finance, and then I just picked up real estate as well. And then I switched to fully real estate, and then also kept a finance minor. But then, yeah, and just being in Denver has been awesome. I can say that I like it more than Chicago, probably just because it's definitely way sunnier here in the winters. I do enjoy skiing and going up to the mountains, so it's definitely been a great opportunity for me to kind of spread out and venture out west.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of the state. Like there's a lot of fun things you can do here, and we still have like so many like city aspects. Denver is still like, I mean, you're from Chicago and you're comparing it to Chicago, like that's a big city. So
and while we're on that, what drew you into real estate specifically in school?
DU has a really good real estate program, and I definitely knew that I wanted to do something with finance, and then commercial real estate piqued my interest at first, and then I just kind of slowly but surely ventured into residential. But yeah, as far as specific choice to go real estate, there wasn't like one event. It kind of just slowly happened, I guess. And there was so many kids in my fraternity that studied real estate as well that had kind of gone through the program and now are having success. And so I kind of just moved that way, and then here I am.
Follow the success. I like it.
Mm-hmm.
So Christina, you said your new mortgage company is named Solistic Home Mortgage. Can you
Yeah.
tell us a little bit about the name?
Yeah, absolutely. So it's, kind of taking two things that are just really a part of my life. I'm really into just conscious and mindful work, but you have soul and then you have holistic. So really bringing soul into the home ownership process, because we all need to find our place in the world and we all need to find home, and having a safe space to come back to, and really where we can be, in a safe environment. So that's kind of the blend of it. And then holistic, really just bringing a holistic approach to everything that I do, and really being mindful in everything that I do. And that's really just bringing an awareness of who I am as a person and how I am in the world, and how, and how I affect people, just becoming more mindfully aware of that in my actions and how I serve the world.
What made you decide to finally make the jump from, because you said you were through your other company for 10 years.
Yeah.
And like, what were some of those things that you felt like you were like ready to do? Because I think a lot of agents maybe wanting to go independent, or loan officers in a similar situation, they're wondering what that, because I feel like you never feel like you're prepared, right?
Yeah.
So
It's,
talk about that a little bit.
yeah, totally. I mean, I think you're not ready until you're ready, right? And sometimes I questioned it. I was like, okay, why did it take me 10 years to get to this place? But I feel like everything falls into place when it's ready to. But I think like a big thing for me is that I was working on this vision of what I wanted it to look like for many, many years before I went on my own. And so, and what I mean by vision is just really like picturing what I want that to look like, and really believing that I am the person that can be that. And then really kind of building the momentum. I'd say what really helped me is that I started building my business while I was still at the company that I was with for about a year before I went fully on my own. And I'd say the first year in being an entrepreneur is really just figuring out how to what that means, and really understanding the full concept of even building a business, because we have such a narrow focus, narrow perspective of what it actually means until we're in it. So for me, I feel like things would look a lot differently if I didn't put things in motion for a year before leaving, because then you really start to see the compound effect, right? And you start to.
What were those things you did a year before? Like, what did you?
Yeah. So a lot of like really focusing on building like realtor partnerships, doing a lot of networking, doing events, really just putting myself out there, because honestly, you don't even know if it's going to work. You don't know any results until you just throw something at the wall. And I feel like this past year has really been just throwing things at the wall. And that's, networking, building relationships, having conversations with as many people as I can. And it's not even talking about real estate, right? It's just me connecting and building my community. And that was really my intention for 2023.
I think you did a really good job. I met you like a little over a year ago, and I remember you that was your goal. And
yeah,
a couple of things, like you really remembered things I had said, and you sent me like a bracelet with like a word like I had given you here. Like, you definitely took steps, and like, we haven't done a deal, like you know what I mean? But like, I remembered you for this podcast. So good work. Because I think it's hard to find that balance, and you have to realize that yes, everything does happen for a reason. You can't like beat yourself into growth,
correct.
So,
and I think it's believing that you can become that person, right? It's kind of it's becoming like more confident in yourself, and really believing that you can step into that. And I think it just takes time.
What is different about like your process with a client? Like, because you said you have like a holistic approach, like what is different? I'm really interested in.
Yeah, for sure. So, I mean, really my previous like background in 10 years that I was at the company that I was with, it was direct to consumer. And so what that means is that my boss did a lot of advertising on radio and TV. So I would get leads that were brought into me. And so I would just always have a consistent flow of leads, which is a little bit different of a process, right? You're going to have people who are, look, who wants the best rate, the lowest cost, things like that. Whereas like this shift in my business is that my target audience is millennials. Ultimately, obviously I want to help everybody, but really I want to help millennials get into home ownership. And so this process, I'm starting to work with my ideal client, and it goes so much deeper because the conversations that I'm having with them, it's like, we're not even like, oh, let's like talk about rates and stuff. It's like, oh no, let's talk about your vision. Let's talk about your goals with real estate. What do you want the next 3, 5, 10 years to look like? And ultimately, like, what is most important to you, And so for me, it's really just a process of like really going deeper with the client and ultimately being a support system that will help them every step of the way, whether they're 2 years, 3 years from the process. Like, I genuinely take the time and I like to go deeper with my clients. So that's where the the mindful and holistic approach comes from. But I think most importantly is really caring about their financial well-being and just their well-being in general, who they are as a person. And that the work that we do, it just goes so much deeper, right? Because it's so personal in what we do. And sometimes other places like big banks nationwide, like everybody, they can just be a number, right? And it's just like a conveyor belt. And then they call in and they talk to a million different people. And it's like, they can talk, I'm always available and I'm always here for them. So that's kind of the approach.
You mentioned ideal client. How does one person figure out what their ideal client is?
I mean, that there's a lot of noise around it, right? Because it's like, oh, I want to help everybody, and I think what has helped me nail it down is a lot of my background, not just in hospitality and like the hotel industry, but I'm a longtime dancer and performer in the music industry. So I've done a lot of shows and I know a lot of people in Denver. So I've already like built a really big following and just a community of people that I know. And a lot of those people are millennials. And so for me, it's like, what is around me and who do I know and who can I also relate the most to? And I feel like that's all, the biggest thing that our, millennials face is affordability, And so, trying to combat that.
Awesome. Jackson, do you have an ideal like client for investor? Because I feel like investors also can be pretty broad.
Yeah. As far as ideal client goes, it's more definitely somebody who's capable and interested in actually going in and taking some kind of hoarder house or something that needs a ton of work and has that long-term vision to take that canvas and then put in that work and then put it back on the market for a future homeowner and just kind of help the neighborhood out almost, just kind of make everything just kind of nicer. But as far as like actual ideal client, I'd say it's very broad. Everyone kind of has their own criteria of what they're looking for. For me, it's just definitely somebody who has the time, has the connections, and has the resources to actually take our product, which is that kind of investment grade property that needs that work, and then they can go in and fix it up, and then of course make their money while also helping out the community.
Do you have like maybe a ideal thing that you sort of like look for? Like, what do you look for in a good investment when you're looking for properties to purchase? Like, what if you could give just like some generic, like, is this a good investment? Is this not, sort of, advice?
Yeah, definitely. Neighborhoods are huge, I would say. And then
That makes sense.
it's pretty much mostly numbers. Essentially, it's, hey, this thing's going to cost me 50 grand to fix up and I can sell it for whatever, 400 grand. I need to get it at 300 so I can make that whatever money. And it makes it worth my 2 or 3 month time to actually go in and do that work. It's way less specific almost. It's just more numbers. And at the end of the day, if the numbers work, then my investors will hop on it and make some money.
How do you get those numbers? Like, how are you able to like value how much a property needs work done? You know, I think a lot of people have a hard time with doing that. You know, they look at a kitchen and they don't know if it's 10 grand or 100 grand. Like they really don't, you know, and of course it
Mhm.
also varies too, right? Like different kitchens do cost 10 and do cost 100, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's where experience comes into play for sure. I definitely look for people who've done flips before and kind of know exactly what they're talking about, because then they can walk in a house and say, okay, this kitchen is whatever, 500 square feet. This is how much it's going to cost me, just roughly back of the napkin type calculation. And then they can kind of walk through and know exactly how much it's going to cost. For me, I'd say everyone is different. For some people, they can get it done cheap and fast, and some people it can take them longer. So I don't usually go in and try and specify exact costs. I say, you know, hey, this kitchen needs updating, it needs paint, this bathroom needs to be fixed up. What's your rehab budget? And then we walk it together and kind of figure it out that way.
Okay, so you're kind of like a matchmaker helping investors find the homes that they want to invest in. So are you, if someone is like a new investor, are you a good resource for them?
Yes, definitely, because we are 100% free. And so we send out about 20 or so deals weekly. And so if you're just looking for deals in general, just getting on our email list is 100% free. And then I just send you deals. And then that way, if something looks good, then we get out there and check it out. But there's no obligation to ever buy anything from us or pay a monthly subscription or anything like that. So we definitely are a super good starting point for anybody new who's just kind of looking for a more investment grade property.
Awesome. That's great to know. New Western. We'll have your information in the show notes too, so people can easily get a hold of both of you guys. Kristina, what have you, because I've also seen you do a lot on social media as far as like connecting with your community. And I think a lot of people have been taking advantage of this after COVID, especially. What have you been doing as far as like social media is in the way of connecting? If people are like, you know, I don't know anybody, or I can't, you know,
Mhm.
like they're not necessarily able to go out and they want to do more of that social media.
Yeah, definitely. I'd say, you know, the biggest thing about social media does take time, right? It is I would say it's a long-term game, but it obviously can really like help you. I'd say the biggest thing that it's really helped me is brand awareness. And so really just people seeing and knowing what I do. And consistently showing up and posting. So I've been doing it for, I'd say, about a year and a half now, consistently, continually posting, whether that's, you know, reels or carousels or whatever that is. But it does take time. It's, you know, it's one of those things where, but it is good because it just helps get you in front of people, especially when you need to like try to like build community and get your name out there. But I think the biggest thing that it's been really a support for me is just letting people know an awareness factor of what I do. I don't get my sales directly from there, but it's been like a conversation starter for people. Like, oh, hey, I didn't know you were a mortgage lender, or, you know, things like that. And so that's kind of where, and I've had a couple people reach out in my community about it. You know, they want to eventually look at buying. So I think it is good for it. It just takes time. And so I'd say time and patience is the biggest thing when it comes to social media. It's a big time commitment too, you know?
Do you plan out your content? Like, do you schedule posts or do you just post like in the moment?
Yeah, so I mean, really, like, if I'm being real, lately what I've been doing is I've been trying to at least schedule it a week or two ahead. This January I was like trying to plan it out for the month. So trying to kind of refine and be more strategic in that. It can be very time consuming, and I think it can create a lot of anxiety for people. I've been there. I know what it feels like, and kind of putting the pressure like, oh, I need to post. Oh, I need to post. But I typically try to plan it out at least a week or two ahead. And then I've only consistently I do like 3 posts a week. And I know sometimes it's like, oh, for the algorithm, you need to post, 3 times a day. And it's like, I don't have the capacity to do that, nor do I want to do that. That's not my business. And that's not where I want to, put my pressure on myself to do that,
Jackson, do you
And
use social
Jackson-
media?
Yes, I do. I definitely use more of Facebook, and Facebook groups, I would say, are pretty big. And then from there, I also really like going to in-person meetups, so like happy hours, coffee,
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
stuff like that. And I feel like that has been where most of my success has come, as far as just finding more people and just talking to more people,
Mhm.
as opposed, just cold calling or just something like that. Because actually seeing somebody in person or on social media kind of helps put a face to the name. And instead of, me just calling whatever 100 people, and it's just not the same. I would say it definitely is much more meaningful actually having that personal connection, sitting down, having
Helps
a
you.
coffee, just talking in general just kind of helps me find more and just get in front of more people. And yeah, and then also for me, just being so new and so young, just out of being able to learn from people who have had success investing in real estate, because that's what I want to like start doing later down the line. But yeah, it's definitely been super nice to actually talk to really smart people at those meetups and on social media and stuff.
What do you look for in a meetup group? Like when you're looking at sort of something you might want to go to or not, like what gives you like the impression that you want to go versus one that you may not want to attend?
Yeah, so as far as what I look for in a good meetup, I definitely like to look online and see how many people are actually going, and then also see kind of where it's at. If it's close to me, then I'll definitely make an effort to get out there. But then also just kind of seeing those good communities that always kind of show up and host events and whatnot.
Okay. So are you posting events in your Facebook groups? Like, are you like sort of making them work together, like marketing your in-person events to your Facebook group and vice versa?
Yeah, so we as a company only host about one every quarter, but there's so many different smaller groups of people that actually set them up and set that time and date, and then they will post them on Facebook or a Bigger Pockets or meetup.com. And then from there you can just search like just online and then find them from there, and then kind of see who's going. If you look at the RSVP list, if there's 10 or 20 people going, or if you've actually been to that one before, it definitely helps knowing exactly who's going to be there and who's not.
Awesome. Cool. Back to Kristina. So you are from Colorado. You were born in Aurora, or you were born in Aurora too?
I grew up in Aurora, but I was born in Wheat Ridge and then grew up in Aurora.
Tell us, I want to talk to you because like once you start going, I would write all my notes down and then I can't read them again. But I have like once you start to talk about the holistic and the thing, I still have a lot of questions. So like, how do you get that across? Like, how do you sort of like do you have you designed your own like how do you I don't know
process? Yeah. I mean, it's nice. Like I try to do like either Zoom or like Google Meet online. So like we meet face to face, and whether that's like at a fun like coffee shop in Denver, whatever my clients are about. And so we'll typically schedule a meeting, and then what I really like to do is really just kind of, have a really meaningful and genuine conversation with them, and really start to like really talk about, and ask them questions like what are your biggest concerns, what are your biggest fears, what are you are you trying to build wealth in real estate, what is your vision for the next 10 years, like what does that really look like, and really what's most meaningful and what's most important. And then from there it's like, okay, I take all of that information and then really curate it into into the loan process, right? And really kind of looking at, like right now I'm currently offering like a lot of like home buyer strategy consultations, and really that's allowing me to really dive into different loan options, but really look at it in a strategic way, ultimately mapping it out to what their goals are, and looking at several different options for them, and then breaking out each option, and then we kind of go from there.
Okay, do you have like a good example of like what a strategy would be for like, are you talking like helping a client get like a better credit score or?
Yeah. Like I have, so something that I have a lot of experience with is helping self-employed clients. So I had a meeting with a couple. They recently had a child. They moved here from the East Coast. They want to buy a home. It was a referral from somebody I know. And so she's getting ready to file taxes. So we're going to have a meeting come February before she files. Because again, a big thing that happens is when you're self-employed, a lot of people write that off. So we're going to kind of go dive into that to make sure that I can pivot her to where she's showing enough income. And then also like really mapping out, talking about down payment assistance, having a the lowest monthly payment is really important to them. So looking at it from the avenue of, okay, does the 2-1 buy down make sense, or a 3-2-1 buy down, which gives you a lower interest rate for the first couple of years on your mortgage. Can you guys go up to a max payment, and what is that max payment and what does that look like? And they want to buy in June. So really kind of breaking out all of the steps and what we need to do to help them get there. And that's really kind of what goes into my meetings with them.
So when do you recommend someone get a hold of you if they want to buy a house in a year?
Now.
Perfect. So you can make a plan and.
Yeah, because it's, it's like you're trying to throw a dart at a dartboard, right? And so until you know, and until you like really sit down and really know it's one thing to like conceptually know, but like analytically know the actual steps. And so that you have a financial roadmap in place. And then you also have, everything that you need to do. And then if they are a year out, what I love to offer is I do like 3-month check-ins, I do 6-month check-ins, and then I also just offer monthly support and guidance, because people are going to have questions all the time, and they're going to have things that come up that change. So really, I just want to kind of always be in their, in their life, and really genuinely help them.
It's a good.
That's what I always tell people. They're like, they're like, well, I don't want to buy until so-and-so. I'm like, call a lender,
Yeah.
But I'm not ready. Call a lender.
Call a
Like,
lender.
just call the lender. I'll give them, I'd be like, I gave you a number. Just call them. Like,
Yeah.
because you never know. And that way I was like, you don't want to like wait and then you find out that you need to do some credit repair or something. And I just tell people that. They don't
for
listen.
sure. I know. And I think too, like, in that conversation that I was having with clients, like I kind of went over some numbers with him, because I go over like a visual presentation so they can see each different loan option. And he's like, wow, he's like, I'm just surprised that my cash to close is just so low. And I'm just like, and we looked at a regular like loan option, and then we looked at a loan option with down payment assistance, and he thought it was just incredibly low. He's like, oh, I had this, like I had to bring, that conception of like, oh, bringing 20% down, so it's like really demystifying the things that people think, and they don't really know until they know.
Well, and especially a good reminder for the self-employed to definitely chat if you're planning on buying a house with a lender before you do taxes.
Yeah, especially right now. I'm going to be sending out an email to everybody that I know about that, just as a reminder. So it's really, and I think it's, we're starting to see a lot more people be self-employed, step into the entrepreneurial space. So really getting ahead of the game can really help with that.
Jackson, do you have to do a lot of education, or are most of your investors pretty experienced?
I would say it's about 50-50. So sometimes people have kind of heard of us, and then they just want to see our deals and kind of know more. But I would say sometimes people don't really know most about flipping houses, and so they kind of just come to us as a resource to find more deals. But I would say, yeah, definitely people have a good grasp on exactly what they're trying to do, and usually they either just need either money or good contracting, or they have all that and then they just need deals in general. And so we kind of bridge the gap, just helping them out. I definitely like to I would say network and try and find good contractors and try and find good lenders for my people, and so that way if they need that that resource, I can help them out. But yeah, I would say definitely it's very 50-50.
That makes sense.
So if Jackson, if anybody has any investor questions or wants to get a hold of you and learn more about you and what you do, where can they find you? What's the best way to reach you?
They can find me either on Facebook, or they can find me just with my phone number. It's 312-983-0775. Or just search, just kind of search me up online on social media, and then you'll be able to find me.
Perfect. Connect in the World Wide Web. Kristina, where can we find you?
Yeah, they can go to my website, which I actually just published a couple of weeks ago, and that's solistichomemortgage.com. And it has my contact information. They can reach me directly there.
Perfect. Awesome, guys. And thank you so much for joining us today and connecting and sharing your experience. And we will see you at the next episode.